This video is meant for those who get stuck and have problems and don't know what to do on one of your assignments. And it's going to show you a bunch of techniques that will help you overcome those. So first off, just know that everybody gets stuck, and if you don't, you're a robot and not human. So there's that. First thing I want you guys to do if you have problems or things like that, I want everybody, I guess, before they get the problems, I want you guys to start your assignments early. You guys definitely need to be starting 2 to 3 days before these are due. There are some assignments that you might be able to do just fine the night before and have, problems, but it's probably better not to risk that. And there's some assignments that you definitely need, a week or two in advance, some of the bigger ones, to be trying to, make sure you have enough time to troubleshoot your stuff. So I want to make that clear. Start early. Next, I want to make sure everybody isn't just going through the videos and just watching and trying to soak it up, but typing out the same code typed out in the videos or in class, that you're following along and you're doing those, because there's a great deal of learning that takes place by typing them out yourself and running into problems there and being able to pause the videos and see exactly where your problems might be. And so making sure you do that is going to definitely help you understand. With that being said, a lot of the assignments closely follow the code from the videos. And so if you can do the video and follow along and get that to work in your own environment, in your own browser and your own computer, then you're probably going to be able to do the assignment just fine. And so when you watch the videos, kind of follow along with those, and that will help you out. The next thing is using the book. The book does follow along the assignments as well and is an additional resource. But in particular, there's these sections called the hands-on practice for these different chapters throughout the book. And they kind of go through and almost show the same type of assignment that we do in class. And so going along and looking at their code and having a nice explanation is just one more additional thing that you can do to help understand how to do, that thing in the assignment it has you do. Now, up to this point, if you've done both of those and you're running into problems, this is where we need to start looking at validation, okay? So first off, look at downloading the extension Validator Plus, okay? And you can go ahead and download this onto your computer. This is one that I made for the class I thought would help everybody out. And what it does is when you click on it, I've got it right here, it's going to quickly pull up the HTML validation and the CSS validation on your website that you've uploaded, okay? Now, one important thing to note, that it only works for pages that are uploaded. It's going to basically take that URL and feed it back into both validators and just check them quick. So if you don't have that, then you need to directly go into HTML validation and upload your file or do a direct input. And again, I think that's important to understand that that's for every file. So if you have 5 files of HTML, do each one. And you only need to do one CSS file, and that should be fine. So the thing to do after that, if you can't get that working, is to go ahead and use the inspector tool, okay? The inspector tool is probably the most handiest tool and useful tool that there is for as far as troubleshooting your code. And I have a specific video on how to go through that. It's much longer. Watch the whole thing. I started off about halfway through. The video first shows how to use HTML and CSS validation if you're not familiar with that. But look at that inspector tool video and learn how to use that tool. I cannot stress this more. For every student should be learning that and how to use that efficiently. It will literally, like I say here, save countless hours over the course of the semester doing that. Next thing I want you guys doing, talk with your peers. For whatever reason, going through and explaining your code to another person, often, the problems kind of reveal themselves. So just going through with a friend, a peer online, something like that, somebody in class, is going to help you, have a second set of eyes and then sometimes just, the problem will just show itself that way. Okay, up to this point, if you've done all of this, and I want you to understand your instructor expects you to have done all of this before. You've gone through the assignments, you've typed them out yourself, on the videos, you've validated them, you've used the inspector to help troubleshoot your code, and make sure you watch that video because it will show you how to specifically troubleshoot and identify where the problems are. And that's again the most important thing I could teach you this semester is how to efficiently use the inspector tool to inside of Chrome to troubleshoot your code, because it really will. But if you've done all of that, we can go ahead and contact the instructor. Now, one important thing that I want everybody to understand is that as an instructor, we really want to maximize the amount of learning for our students, right? And I don't feel that really helps a student if you just give that student an answer. I feel that student needs to earn that answer and work for that answer, and when they do that, they'll remember that answer long term. And so, the average student, I just don't want them coming to me and be like, how do you do this? How do you do this? I'm like, well, read the video or watch the video, read the book, do those things, earn those answers. But there definitely are times where you genuinely can't get the answer and you don't understand it, and you've tried all those things. And if you've done that, kudos to you. That's awesome. And that's what I want you to do. But typically those students are missing one small piece of information. And once I give that to them, they're off running again and they're totally fine and can, finish the assignment and are great. And so this section of help is really for those students. Have you tried and exhausted all other areas before you come to the instructor? And if that's the case, there's a few things I want you to do. First off, give me your full name and what course you're in. Again, many instructors have lots and lots of classes, and we don't always know who you are or what assignment you're talking about. And so make sure you identify that, especially if for whatever reason you're texting, make sure you're saying that. But for this, let's send an email and give what assignment you're working on and a summary of what you've tried so far. I want to see what things have you tried to do to overcome that, and where do you think the problem is, and stuff like that. And so I want to see what you've done before, I give you any answers. And next, I want to see the website uploaded. Okay, so give me a link out to Alta Vista or whatever link online you have. Often we want to recreate the environment you have, and uploading online definitely cuts out a lot of those problems. I don't want to see screenshots or any attached files to these emails. A screenshot I can't run through the inspector. I'd have to literally type out all of your code. An attached file, sometimes students will flatten it. Sometimes they'll just send an index.html and not your style sheet, or not any of your images, or the folder structure's gone. And so if you can upload those files, it's going to help your instructor understand and troubleshoot your stuff better. And they're, again, like I said, going to be using the Chrome Inspector tool in order to troubleshoot that. So I want that all included in an email. Not really that included, but I don't want to see those. Now, if for whatever reason your instructor can't solve your issue at this point, this is where we probably need to set up an appointment to meet. If that's before or after class for those that are in class, or set up a phone call for those that are outside, or even come in during office hours, or set up a time is probably more preferable than the latter. And we can sit down and we can go through the code one at a time and figure out and solve your solution. Again, really the point of all this is, how do I go about teaching you how to solve your issue, right? Without stopping you or having you give up on those things. I really want my students to learn as much as they can so they can do these things long term. I'm not going to give answers easy unless you've gone through all the different hoops and tried to solve it first. But again, I want to give those answers if you've done those things, so you can have that one piece of information and get, your assignment completed. So hopefully that helps out and gives a little bit of summary of my expectations before before texting or calling the instructor. So hopefully that makes sense.